Very well, we didn't indicate that Gideon Mbuvi alias Sonko is in our other studio to speak to Belinda about his senatorial ambitions. Belinda.
That's right, Tom. Flamboyant Mike Mbuvi Sonko. This is the TNA Senate candidate for Nairobi. We were also expecting, actually, the ODM Senate candidate for Nairobi, Bishop Margaret Wanjiru. Unfortunately, she did not make it, stating that there were still a few issues that she had to sort out with her party, but would like to let her know that our invitation is still open to her. Whenever you are ready to come, we'd like to have both you and Mike Sonko here in the studio so we can hear what both of you want to do for the county of Nairobi. Well, Mike Sonko, thank you so much for joining us in the studio. Let's look at you. As we look at you sitting a very flamboyant, all your bling. I'm known as a very bling woman. You outdo me fabulously, I must say. Why should we, first of all, take your attempt to become the Senator of Nairobi seriously?
First of all, once you are elected as a leader, or once your people trust you as a leader, first of all, you must put into consideration that the seat you are sitting on, or that seat which you are going to sit on, does not belong to you. It belongs to the people who are going to vote for you. It belongs to the great people who will vote for you. So, in short, what I mean, I value the people. Leadership is in me. Leadership is in my blood. Leadership is in my heart. I can do anything for my people.
Anything indeed. Let me even pick up from there, such as punching walls, running around the streets, rolling on the streets.
Sleeping on the road.
Thank you for adding that for me. Sleeping on the road. Do you think these are qualities that here in Nairobi we're looking for someone to represent us as a senator, someone who is going to be checking on what Parliament is going to be doing as we enter into the new, after the elections of 4th March?
I've explained leadership is in me, and as a leader, I'll give an explanation of what transpired during that time. It was very painful indeed. As a leader, I could not sit behind and watch women. I had donated free shirts to women, to youths within my constituency, free open shirts. I paid 1-year license to the city council. I came with a very brilliant initiative whereby I was empowering women. I gave them free open sheds. I gave them capital to buy tomatoes, to buy sukuma wiki. But City Council wanted to steal this initiative from me. They came with the idea of putting up modern kiosks. These modern kiosks were being sold for $500,000. Women from the slums could not afford. So what they did, City Council used to come. They used to clobber women, arrest women, rob women, harass women. I could not tolerate this. I raised the matter in Parliament. I raised the matter with the police. But you know, our government is kichwamaji. Our government is hardcore. Women used to be arrested. They used to be taken to court. They used to frame charges to these women. We had over 300 women who are languishing in prison over unlawful incarceration. So I decided and said, no.
Enough is enough.
Enough is enough. I mobilized youth. From each ward within my constituency, I took 80 youths. We went to those affected areas. I think this was South B. That day they came. They arrested over 50 women. We saw them, clobbered the women, harassed them, stole their money, stole their cells. I was not happy.
So what you're saying is you're a man of the people?
I was ready to die for these women. It is true I went overboard. And it will not happen again.
Okay.
These were my first days in Parliament. It is true I slept on the road, but I was ready to die for these women. I blocked the road. We blocked the city council vehicles, and those women were released. We gave them back their money. We gave them back their cells. And from that day, that thing has never happened.
Remarkable, I must say. You
Put
did fight
yourself
for the
in
women.
my
You
shoes.
did fight for the women.
I
That's
was
rude.
fighting for my people.
And you said it will not happen again. So in case you
I'm
do become the
apologetic
senator,
because, yeah, it
in
will
case
not
you
happen.
become the senator and something comes up and you see that you've tried all avenues to fight for whatever cause you might be fighting for, in case you do become the senator of Nairobi, we will not see a Sonko punching walls and rolling on the floor.
I have enough experience.
Uh-huh.
I've gone to court. I've won so many cases
So
on
you're
behalf
wiser.
of my people. I've secured a court order on behalf of all the slum dwellers in Makadara. There is nobody who is supposed to evict any slum dweller, who is supposed to demolish any structure. This is VIDE case number 223 of 01 before Justice Majanja in High Court. And I'm going to extend this order in favor of all Nairobians. We saw what happened in Lavington when they were constructing the bypasses. Yeah, houses were demolished, properties were demolished. This is not the way to go about it. Article 40 is Article 4 of our Constitution. Empowers every Kenyan to own property anywhere. And still, it empowers every Kenyan to be compensated in case the government wants to acquire any property on compulsory acquisition. So what I've answered the one part on sleeping on the road.
Yes.
You have talked on punching of the walls.
Yes.
I punched the modern kiosks which were brought. This modern kiosk was sold to the poor women for 500,000. The women were forced to go for loans. Where do you expect a woman to get a logbook as security for a loan? Where do you expect a poor woman from the slums to get a title deed?
So you came and stood in the way for your people.
So this was totally unfair.
Okay.
And after what I did, I got a letter from the minister, Modavadi, that they stopped further construction of this modern kiosk.
So it was not in vain?
It was not yeah.
Okay. So you've told us now what you've done in the past, how you fought for your people, and you tried different means, and when it didn't work out, you did things which you said you wouldn't do any longer, such as punching the walls, rolling on the floor, because you've become wiser. Well, as a wiser Sonko, if you do become senator, what are you going to do for Nairobi?
First of all, when President Kibaki took over, our budget, our economy was worth below 200 billion. Today, because of Honorable Uhuru Kenyatta, he was the finance minister for over 3 years, our budget is more than 1 trillion. With this budget of 1 trillion, when you go to shop in the local supermarkets, you go to Uchumi today, you go to Nakumatt today, you go to Churches today, 70% of the products we buy from the supermarket are imported stuff. So the first thing I'll do, I'm going to encourage the international investors and the local investors to invest in our country locally. Our budget is worth 1 trillion, and yet you cannot even produce toothpaste, while our neighbors Tanzania produce white dent. So by encouraging our local investors to set up these factories, this industry locally here, we'll be expanding Nairobi in terms of expansion, in terms of buildings. We'll be creating employment, we'll be attracting taxes, and we'll proceed with everything in Nairobi.
I must say, it does sound quite promising, and even people who are listening to us saying, okay, wow, we have got a wiser Sonko, and he seems to have a plan what he wants to do. But let's bring something else up as well. If you do become senator, one of the things that has made you quite controversial is your attire. As I started when you entered in here, it was all your flamboyancy, the gold chains, your gold rings. If I may humbly request, if you could remove your cape of I Love Haters so we could see your head. I believe it's certain piece. Will you said there are certain things you will change, such as you will no longer punch the walls, you'll no longer roll on the floor. If you become senator, is the attire going to change, or are you going to represent Nairobians still like this?
First of all, our constitution is very clear. I went to school. I know the constitution. Article 27, sub-article 1 of the new constitution. The state shall not discriminate directly or indirectly against any person on any of the following grounds: dress, sex, religion, color, disability, pregnancy, among other factors.
So you shall remain the same.
So I'll remain the same. I was not elected in attire. I was not elected in a suit. In fact, if you saw my first photo when I went to vote, I was in a T-shirt, I was in a jeans. So my dress code will not change me.
Will not change at all. You remain our
I'll
flamboyant
only go to the
Sonko.
Senate when I'm in a suit. But it will not change my style, my
Your
dressing
style.
style. No.
If Evans Kidero does become the governor and you clinch the senatorship, are you ready to work with him? Because you guys, we don't know who's winning.
work with any leader. I will respect any leader. And I want to put it clear. I respect all the Nairobians, whether the rich, the middle class, and the poor. So if they bring another governor from a different party,
You work
who
with
is Sonko? I'll just work with him.
That's a good question. Who is Sonko? And you talked about working with the rich, the poor. Another question many people ask, who is Sonko, and where does Sonko get his wealth from?
Sonko is a man of the people. I repeat myself,
Man of the people, leader. What about the
leadership is in me, in my blood, and in my heart. And because of that, I bring leadership down to the grassroots.
Indisputable.
Yeah? This is the power I got from my people, from the great people of Makadara. And there is a saying which says, the power of the people, by the people, to the people. We have to return this power back to the people.
That's true.
Yeah? And by so saying, I bring power down to the grassroots. And in doing so, I mingle with my people and I become the man of the people. Yeah.
But where do you get your wealth? Where does your wealth come from? I'm sure you've heard of the
there
allegations
are so many
that it could be drugs.
There are so many speculations about me. I don't deal with drugs. Even if you put cocaine, sugar, and glucose, I cannot differentiate. I've not been convicted by any case over drug-related matters. If there is any, I want you to mention it about
No, we're asking.
These are all speculations. And I'm not a drug dealer. I used to be a land and estate agent, and I inherited this from my father. My father was a very influential businessman, a very wealthy businessman from the coast, so I come from a poor family. I got my first 10 million when I was in school. I used to sell land. Somebody can come from Europe, wants to buy a land from a local for 10 million. I go to a local, I broke that land for 2 million. What I make there, it is between a willing buyer, willing seller. So I don't deal in drugs. I don't know drugs. I can't tell you anything about drugs.
So
those were just speculations to tarnish my name.
Okay.
Yes.
So your wealth comes basically from land.
Basically from land, and I'm a very clean person. What I get, I share with my people, and I'll always share with my people. My salary, I share it with my people. My Senate salary, I'm going to share it with Nairobians. I'm going to share, to distribute it on a merry-go-round. All the constituencies, the 17 constituencies in Nairobi, are going to enjoy.
Your salary will go there.
Yes.
All right.
And I don't give false promises in politics.
Okay.
That's why I'm whom I am today.
Many people are going to hold you on to
That's
that
why
if you win the senatorship.
Sonko of all Sonkos in the world.
Of all Sonkos.
Yes.
Last but not least, why did you bail out the MRC secessionist group?
Okay, MRC is a group in Mombasa. Mombasa is a cosmopolitan county. It belongs to everybody. It is an historical county. We've got so many historical places like Fort Jesus. We have so many schools which go to Mombasa for educational tours. The Portuguese were there doing the slave trade. They were using the Indian Ocean in transporting these slaves. And we have got so many local tourists, domestic tourists from our own country. We have got tourists from Lunda, Westlands, Kileleshwa, Lavington, even from my own constituency, Buruburu, Umoja. Even I was with Kinamzee Jasho in White Sands. 95% of the tourists are from Nairobi, of our local tourists from Nairobi. Now, I want you put yourself into my shoes. If you're a local leader, if leadership is in you, there was a chief who was guarded by administration policemen and who was slaughtered to death. I'm not blaming MRC for this. I'm not saying MRC was responsible for this. There was a minister's bodyguard who was armed with a seska. He was slaughtered to death. Now, if a minister's bodyguard who had a gun, myself, I don't have any problem. I'm an MP, I have bodyguards. Now, if there's skirmishes in Mombasa today, there are students who are there from Makadara, from Westlands, from Runda. There are those families from Westlands who go there, Westlands, Serena. If there's skirmishes there, I have bodyguard. I have a bodyguard myself. How about that common Mwananchi who doesn't have a bodyguard?
Yes.
What about his security? What about her security? What about that family?
So that's why you bailed them out?
That is, when I bailed them out, I had an agreement with them. You saw me with some files here.
Yes.
I've got a lorry here, down, over 200 files, which has content of my track records, what I've been doing. I had an agreement with these guys. These are guys who have got their own rights. They've got their own claims. We cannot finish our own people through police crackdowns. Police crackdowns will not finish the landlessness problem we have in Kenya. Police crackdowns will not finish the joblessness problem we have in Kenya. Police crackdowns will not finish the poverty problem we have in Kenya. We have to initiate dialogues with these groups. That's why I initiated talks with the MRC for the sake of Nairobians.
Okay.
I'm vying for senatorial seat in Nairobi. That's why I was concerned to make peace in Mombasa. And I think the whole world saw. I had an agreement with the MRC leaders, which we executed, and I gave them conditions.
Yes.
I'm bailing you out on condition that you preach peace, you preach cohesion. And from that time, we have not had bloodshed. from the coast.
Unfortunately, time does not allow us to get more into details, and I do wish that we had your counterpart for ODM. But speaking of which, are you ready to battle it out with Bishop Margaret Wanjiru?
I respect Bishop Margaret Wanjiru. I'll never use wrong terms, abusive terms against her. We've been with her in the 10th Parliament. My wife used to go to her church. I respect her followers. I respect all Christians in this country. But I'm not afraid of Margaret. Let her come. You know what Miguna said? Come, baby, come, baby. Come, Margaret, come, Margaret. I'm ready for you. I respect you. I love you.
Well,
you are the age of my late mother. Yeah? My late mother died at your age. So I respect you as my own mother. Just come. But let me ask yourself. Bishop must choose either to serve the church or politics.
Why can't she do both?
I also know the Bible.
Uh-huh.
In Matthew chapter 21, verses 12, there is a time Jesus walked into a temple. He found people discussing politics. He found people doing business in a church. So Jesus was angry. He turned out on tables, slapped everybody. And again in chapter 13, Jesus said, my house shall be a house of prayer, not a house of robbers.
Thieves.
Again, Exodus, in the book of Exodus, the 10 Commandments God gave to Moses at Mount Sinai. The third commandment said, you shall not misuse the name of the Lord your God. I wonder why leaders preach politics in church.
Let's end on that
I
note.
wonder why
Let's end on that note.
leaders endorse themselves as governors in a house of God.
I'm sure
Again, the 9th commandment of the Lord.
the last one.
You shall not give a false testimony against your neighbors.
Oh.
I love Bishop. I respect Bishop. We heard the allegations that Bishop took false degrees to the Ministry of Higher Education. She gave a false testimony against her neighbors, against Mbakasi. She's a member for Stare. She gave a false testimony against Honorable Waititu, against Honorable Kidero. This is not the way to go.
Okay, so what we'll have to do is wait for her to come, as you said.
I'm ready. When you call her, call me.
Definitely.
I respect her. I'll not abuse her. I like the way she preaches. I respect God. I am whom I am because of God, and I respect Bishop. But I want to meet her here.
And you'll ask her all
Call
these
her
questions
tomorrow.
to choose.
Call her tomorrow. I sell my policies to the people of Nairobi. Let her sell her policies. We meet in the ballot.
All right.
And I'll always respect Bishop. She's a mother. I respect her.
All right. Bishop Margaret Wanjiru, I'm sure you're watching. And he's preached several Bible verses to you saying you have to choose the church or the people. He's quoted some Bible verses. He's told you, come, Margaret, come. And he wants to sit here and have a chit-chat with you about how you're going to battle it out come the 4th March elections this year. So Bishop Margaret Wanjiru, our invitation is open to you. We'd like to have both you and Mike Sonko here in the studio so we can hear what both your plans are for the senatorial race for Nairobi, and so that the voters can be better prepared for whom to vote for. Mike Sonko, thank you so much.
She can come tomorrow. I'm here for breakfast show with Mutegi and the others.
And Jimmy.
I don't know if church. Let her come here. Sell her policy. I sell my policy. I'm ready to meet her.
All right.
I love her.
I'm sure she's with you. Mike Sonko, thank you so much. And we look forward to having you either 9 p.m. or on breakfast show with Bishop Margaret Wanjiru. And
thank
good luck.
you very much. I love you too.
Good luck for the senatorial race. Back to you, Tom.
Wow, wow, wow. It's good we are having Sonko on Breakfast Show tomorrow because clearly he's got so much that he wants to share with us. Thank you, Belinda and Sonko. Well, hate him, like him, he's got a constituency. I mean, given the SMSs that are coming through. And I particularly liked what he pointed out about Article 27, saying that thou shalt not discriminate on the basis of sex, color, religion, and dress. Talking of dress, the Law Society of Kenya has released a new dress code for advocates that is expected to take effect immediately. The code includes the color of shoes, the length of skirts, and hairstyle as well. Female lawyers should not wear sleeveless dresses, and shirts wearing of culottes, shorts, jeans not allowed. Plus skirts must be knee-length. Male advocates must wear neckties and never remove coats when they are in court without permission of the presiding judge or magistrate, as Judy Koske reports.